I will just do some brief introductions and introduce the panel. So we have Danielle that's joining us. She's from our class of 08. Charlie Floyd is a class of 14. James Risley, class of 01. And then our trustee, Heather Bajillion. Did I pronounce that right? Close to right?
Very good, Heather. Yes.
That's a 97. I tried. But I'll let them introduce themselves more fully in what they currently do. They are all on our construction management professional advisory board. So they are definitely great people that you will definitely be seeing more of when you are on campus and in the program. But I'll let whoever wants to go first take it off.
I'll go first since you introduced me first. So my name is Danielle Crawford. I graduated the construction management degree in 2008. With that, you get a business minor, which was fantastic. I have been, when I went to school at Roger Williams, I actually did 2 internships, one with Gilbane Building Company and one with Hensel Phelps Construction. And I ended up choosing to stay with Gilbane Building Company, and I've been there for almost 12 years. And it's a great company there. I am a general superintendent, and I'm working on an $85 million multi-phased new construction and renovation project at Bristol County Agricultural High School, which is in Dayton, Massachusetts. So that's me. Do you have any other things that I need to introduce or talk about?
I think you're good on that. Charlie, do you want to go next?
Sure. So my name's Charlie Floyd. I graduated in 2014 with the same, construction management major with a business minor. I had internship at Shawmut Design and Construction while I was in the program. I took a job there recently after I graduated, and I currently work for them as a project manager in the Boston area, working for Northeastern University and Harvard University.
James, you want to?
Sure. So James Risley, class of 01. Actually, back then there really wasn't an internship program, but I kind of made my own during the summers working for Arden Mechanical, who actually, president of that company is the president of the board that all 4 of us are on. And also the other one was building a large boat in Newport. That was just kind of fun. But since college, I have been in the Boston market with a few GCs throughout my career. Currently, I run doing operations for a developer and also with a construction company behind them called Bajillion. So we're in the multifamily development.
Okay. And Heather.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Heather Bajillion. I'm the old folk of the team here today. I graduated in 97 and currently am the Chief Investment Officer overseeing development and construction investments at Berkshire Residential in Boston. After Roger Williams, I graduated and went straight into grad school. I went to Harvard and got a master's degree in urban planning, which seems unusual, but there are a lot of connections between construction and urban planning. And it was a great learning experience for me and gave me a great foundation to work at a variety of different companies, but all in the multifamily world since I graduated from grad school. I'm happy to answer any questions about that.
Perfect. Do you each want to talk a little bit about highlights in general of your time at Roger Williams?
Sure, I'll start. So I went to Roger Williams specifically for the construction management program. I had some good friends who had graduated recently from there, and they had only spoken great things about the program. And one of the things that drew me in was the construction management advisory board and learning how much they were involved and, the ability to reach out to professionals in the industry. And then on the same regard, them looking to the students to create internships. So I saw that as an opportunity for me to be able to do, professional networking while still in college.
And it worked because we recruited you for the board.
Yep.
I'll go next. What really motivated me for Roger Williams was that it was a smaller community than most of the other schools, and it was something I was more comfortable with because I graduated from high school and with a small class, and so I felt like the intimacy of the program itself, with the curriculum, how it was very, it was spelled out. It knew exactly what we needed to do at what time, but it also gave us some electives. I liked how it was organized that way, but I also, I loved how intimate the program was. The classes were very small. You could go to the professors, talk to them about anything, and really develop a relationship with them. And so it wasn't like a huge, like state school that you basically sit in auditoriums and with 500 people. It was very small classes. You could actually speak up and joke with your everyone in the room, and everyone knew each other so well because it's such a tight-knit little community. And that's what really drew me to Roger Williams specifically.
Yeah, and I would say very similar for myself as well. Wentworth was another program that I was looking at. And at the time, the city wasn't as appealing to me. And I think that the campus was another big piece of what I really appreciated about Roger Williams at the time is, I kind of did my search through a few different schools, but also to the point of when I went, it was much smaller for the class size. I think I graduated with 7, maybe 8 other CM grads. So the program has grown very substantially from them, and it's really to show the strength of the program.
And I would say for me, I actually wanted to study, I wanted to be an architect. So I went to Roger Williams originally in the architecture program. And through the course of getting to know some of the upperclassmen and my professors and learning more about the industry, I realized that that wasn't going to be the right fit for me. And what was advantageous was being at a university where I had other options. The construction management program was perfect, and I was able to marry my passion and my love for design with the practical side of construction management. And, I think Danielle said it perfectly. You're a person, everybody knows your name. You're not a number in a big auditorium. And even beyond, the walls of the construction management program, inevitably you'll have roommates or friends that are in other programs. So I was able to learn things about marine biology and other things that I never would have had a chance to learn if I had gone to a specialty school, which is what I was considering going to.
And Heather, a specific question for you. How many years did you spend in graduate school for your degree in urban planning after your undergraduate, Andrew?
It was 2 years. It was just 2 years. So it went by very quickly. If I could have pursued a master's in architecture, which would have been longer because I didn't have the undergraduate degree in architecture. But that was also an option. But yeah, 2 years for the urban planning program.
And then what has your career pathways looked like since you have left? I know some of you have already touched on this with your introductions, but since you left Roger Williams, what has your career trajectory looked like since then, and how did Roger Williams prepare you for success for that?
I'll start. So after graduating, so I did 2 years of internships with Gilbane, and I did a summer with Hensel Phelps, as I spoke about. And I was actually able to finish my senior year while working part-time as well with Gilbane. And so after graduation, I was able to take about a month off to kind of just give myself some space, but then I was able to just roll right in. I already knew a bunch of the people that I worked with during my internship, so it already felt like I really knew everyone at the company, so it wasn't like a fresh start, which was awesome for me. And Roger Williams actually was able to introduce that internship opportunity to me, both of them, because the professors work hand in hand with a lot of the companies. They know the people, and so they were really able to pinpoint me through that. So that it was really Roger Williams that got me the job of the internship. And then once I started working at Gilbane, they put me in a management trainee program, which back then you got hired into. Now you have to start out as an engineer and then apply for the position. But back then they didn't know any better, and they just hired in. And so that was a 2-year rotational, similar to what Shamit does. I think it's 3 years for Shamit.
Yep.
But you go through all of the different departments, and you get to kind of find your way. And so at the end of that, I decided to go into superintending. And so I started as an assistant superintendent and then slowly worked my way up to general superintendent. And that's where I am now. And I couldn't be happier or more proud of where I came from, because I'm still obviously heavily involved with Roger Williams, and I don't think I would be if it wasn't really for the relationships that I built during my stay or my time at Roger Williams. And also the people that were there. That, you know, it's not just the friends that you make, you know, that you live with, or your classmates. It's really the relationships with the professors, and that's what really, you know, makes me want to stay involved so much, especially with being on the board and then even helping out off of the board, but within the school themselves.
Perfect.
So as Danielle said, Shamit Design and Construction does the CMST program, which is a construction management skills training program. And you know, the Roger Williams construction management graduates are very sought after for this role. So I graduated with 5 other students in my class that were hired by Shamit, you know, and throughout the New England offices, and then also in, you know, our New York office, and one of them went to the West Coast. So, you know, same thing. So you spend a year in the superintendent role, a year in the estimating role, and a year in the project management role. And then after that, you're able to choose, you know, which is the best fit. You know, you after 6 or so months, you kind of know, you know, I really love this, and this will be my strong suit, or, you know, I don't necessarily want to do estimating. So I chose the project management role, started as an assistant project manager, and am now a project manager.
James,
Oh, go ahead.
I saw your box light up.
No, I think, sorry, I've almost like lost part of the question here, but I think one thing for me that was really important about the school was that Roger Williams, in comparison with others, was not just on the technical side. It was really on the education side and learning, which is really speaking about, you know, what you learn for your career is really important, is the kind of ability to learn, and that is what really propels you through your career, right? Is the ability to pick up new things, be it management, be it financials, be it even the technical side of the business. And the diversification in what you get at Roger Williams, I think, is really important, that you come out rounded, not heavy technical, not just heavy business side, right? Because what you'll find in construction is that it takes kind of all facets of the financial world, the technical construction world, the soft skills, and management of people. It's all of those pieces, right, that come together to really make for a successful career in construction, and I'm sure in other businesses as well. But construction is really a pretty heavy cross-trained business.
Absolutely. I was talking to somebody the other day. It was actually a graduating senior, and trying to explain my career path. And it's not exactly as linear as some of my colleagues on the board, but I'll share it with you anyway. When I graduated from grad school, I went to work for a multifamily builder and developer, very similar to the company that James is working for currently. The name of the company was JPI. And I was a construction engineer. So I was, you know, answering RFIs and processing submittals and, you know, everything that I had been trained for at Roger Williams. but was able to work with that company and get to know what they were doing on the development side. And I felt like that was really where my strong suit was. So after a year, I switched over to the development side and started working with a team there that was permitting apartments throughout New England, big 200 unit apartment buildings throughout New England, and stayed with the company for a number of years. Ended up leaving with some of the partners to start a new company, also in the multifamily space, and would find myself, every week at a job site working with, as James said, people from, all different fields, engineers, bankers, project managers, and owners, trying to utilize all of the skills that I had learned at Roger Williams and at Harvard, and just from the experience and trying to build consensus to move projects forward and get things done. And then about 7 years ago, I left the development world and moved to the investment side, which is where I currently am at Berkshire.
I want to open it up to the students and families who are logged on. Any questions that you guys have, you can either unmute yourself or ask through the chat function, and I can read them out. Because everyone types furiously.
One thing that I wanted to expand on with James is that he used the term well-rounded, and unless you're looking to be a specialist in a certain area, that is one thing that Roger Williams does incredibly well, is really makes you a well-rounded individual and somebody that you're really actually sought after. I know for the longest time, and even up to today, my company looks for Roger Williams students to hire because they're so well-rounded, and they really don't need to be trained because they pick things up so quickly. And that's one thing that I know my company loves picking up Roger Williams for, is because of the well-rounded education that you get.
No one has any questions? I find that very hard to believe.
Well, this is really, it's just like we're, at an accepted student day, because it's always like a sea of dead faces when we're on a panel.
Can construction management be taken as a minor? That's a great question. I'm actually not sure. I don't think construction management is offered as a minor. I don't know if any of you know differently than that. I think courses that you can take, but it wouldn't be a minor itself, to my knowledge.
I'm not sure if it, oops.
I think it
Yeah,
might.
yeah.
I think it might be offered as a minor, or as I forget what the term is, kind of like a selective study, because a lot of the architecture students would, as in our junior and senior years, they would be in. I believe it was for a minor, but don't quote me on that.
That's a great question, Ryan. I'll find the answer while people ask more questions.
I know that there have been some students that have worked with their advisors to kind of create a custom minor, even if there wasn't one published on the website or as part of the public record.
Were any of you involved in the honors program while you were at Roger Williams?
I was not.
I was not either.
Nope.
I got accepted into the, I think it's Sigma Lambda Chi,
Yeah.
which is the Construction Management Honor Society, but that was it. But it was very low key.
Yeah, I was too.
For the honors program, so students who are in that's definitely a rigorous discussion based more course curriculum that'll take you through your core classes. So instead of having, there's really no class at Roger that's a large lecture-based classroom, but the core within the honors program is even more intimate. So they have a lot of rigorous discussion in that. So it's definitely possible. Usually our students who are in any of our STEM degrees that have heavy math and science don't usually have to take the science core class, just because you're going to cover it in your normal curriculum anyways. So that's definitely something that you can do. And then circling back to the minor, there is a construction management minor, and there's more information about it on our website that I would definitely advise looking at.
Oh, you're fast.
Yeah, I think it's I think a lot of architecture students go for the minor, the construction minor.
Please differentiate between development and investment careers. How are they the same or different?
So in my development career, when I was working actually as a developer, as a real estate developer, I was, in the kind of in the grind of doing the actual, not physical development myself, but I was responsible for getting projects approved through local planning boards, working with the design team, overseeing putting all the plans together, the design, the programming, working with our capital markets team to make sure that we had financing in place, and then managing the project through construction. On the investment side, I work for an investment manager that manages money for a number of large institutions. So when a project comes about, anything that's new construction I get involved with, and we're placing the money, we're investing into those projects. So less hands-on, managing the permits and the drawings and the design team, but more overseeing the project to ensure that it's hitting the pro forma numbers, the budget numbers, and working with developers, but just providing the financing to do so. Does that make sense? So no.
No response yet. Yes, capital letters with an exclamation point. Perfect. Did everyone who's logged on, did you guys all have a chance to visit campus before everything that happened this spring? I know we've had some students that were unfortunately unable to come. Perfect.
Yeah, I did.
Perfect.
Heather, are they going to open up some more tours, but with more strict, PPE requirements, perhaps, or is that something that they're still looking into?
They're still looking into it. Because we know when it does open back up, it likely is not going to go back to normal immediately. So whether that's PPE for students or having to keep 6 feet apart when they're on tours, only having a single family on tours, we're looking at a whole bunch of different stuff. As of right now for you guys, it looks like most of you have been able to come to campus, which is great. We're looking to see if we can do like live virtual tours where one of our tour guides gives you a tour through the virtual tour platform that's on our website, so that you can get some live feedback instead of just the automated voice with all the pretty pictures of campus. But that's in the works. But I know we've been emailing you guys a lot with different virtual offerings, so I know it can kind of get bogged down a little bit. Did a tour back in the fall. Perfect. It's beautiful in the fall. It's beautiful all the time. I miss campus a lot right now. You can't really be. I really miss my office chair, which is not something I ever thought ever. But definitely look out for that, for the virtual type tour coming. They've done videos of one of our lead ambassadors, Melissa, giving a tour around campus. So if you just want a refresher, unfortunately it was a rainy day, but at least we were able to get footage of it. I know they did tours of housing and then the new Seacom Labs building, which I know they have a construction management lab that's also going to be in there. So definitely check that out. The building tour was done by our Dean Potter, and I mean, you all on the panel know far more about any of this than I can wrap my brain around. I was not trained in this.
You've done a great job.
Yeah, but it's a really cool tour of it before we left for the spring. So it was definitely fascinating. There's a lot of pride of the students and the faculty that are able to use it as well.
Charlie, were you involved in building that at all?
I wasn't, particularly through the Shamit part of it, no.
But Shamit was the one that built that. So.
We were the co-contractors for it. I will say that, looking back, that's would have been a huge selling point for me coming to Roger Williams. We had an off-campus lab that worked just fine, but if you guys haven't, physically seen the building or seen pictures of it, it really is a state-of-the-art, learning platform that not a lot of the other construction management schools in the nation or in New England can offer.
Hunter's wondering how much of the new building is dedicated to construction management versus engineering. I don't know of an exact ratio. A lot of the rooms that are in it are made to be convertible lab spaces. Obviously, there's the big lab room that a lot of the construction management students are in on the main floor. But a lot of the rooms are convertible so that they can be used by multiple students, but in different years. So it's not exclusive to one or the other. It's a really good space for a lot of our students. I don't have an exact ratio though for CM versus engineering space.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, the labs are definitely going to be cohabitated between the engineering students, the students, and the construction management. You know, they've got a new BIM lab, which has a full video wall, which will be, you know, used with the engineering students doing CAD and the construction management students doing BIM. But, you know, the main focal point of the building and what it was really designed around is this main centered gantry crane, which will be exclusively used, you know, for the construction management labs. I know that, you know, in the spring they put up a steel building, in the fall they put up a wood frame structure. They're always doing concrete testing. You know, you learn how to build a CMU wall. So that, you know, you'll be the showcase of the campus when people are walking by seeing you doing that.
And even for you guys, and the building only opened in January, so our students, our current students got what, maybe 2 months and a week of the building. So you will definitely be the inaugural full class. You were going to be the inaugural full class anyways, but now even more so. It's still very, very pretty and shiny and brand new. Other questions you guys might have?
While everyone's thinking on their question, I'll share my accepted student day story so you don't feel entirely alone that you got cheated out of accepted student day. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, and my parents and I drove 11 hours to Roger Williams to tour for accepted student days. Got to campus, got to the guard shack, and they said, "Oh, nobody told you, the campus is closed. There's a big snowstorm coming. You need to turn around and go back."
No.
So they found, I forget who it was, but they found a random person to give us a really quick tour. It wasn't a security guard, but it was somebody that had never done a tour before. So we get to see the campus, and then immediately got back in the car, made it about halfway through Connecticut, and they shut 95 down, and we were stranded for, I think it was 3 days in Connecticut before we could leave. And I thought my dad was going to kill me, but I decided to come anyway.
That's crazy. 11 hours, that's a long drive.
Yes.
Where's everyone else coming from who's logged on? I know we usually have a lot of students in from New York on these calls. Many, many New York students. Southeastern Connecticut. That's where I'm from. I'm from New London County originally, so not too far away.
One of the questions was, what are the other major companies that hire CM majors? So there's Skanska, there's Suffolk, there's Turner, there's Hensel Phelps, there's Dimeo, Shamit and Gilbane are on the call, but
Suffolk.
What's that?
Suffolk too.
Yep, Suffolk.
Boston.
Yep. And then like tower construction, like some smaller ones. But and then there's like the smaller general contractors that also hire, like Audiello Construction, who's also on the board. Bentley Builders is a smaller firm. So you really, there's so many people that are on the board that love to hire, but also there's so many like opportunities. So there are some great names out there that I'm just blanking on, other than the ones I just quickly. But
we've had some people go to work for the state of Massachusetts or state of Rhode Island as construction inspectors.
And also, I would say that,
or you can do like road construction. You can do like horizontal construction versus vertical. You can do residential versus commercial versus industrial. So like, there's many different avenues you can go. So, and everybody will have an advisor, and then you can always speak to your advisor, but you can also obviously speak to all of your professors too. And they have some great contacts.
And the alumni too.
Right.
and I would also add to that from the subcontracting standpoint, for some of the larger subcontractors, Griffin Electric. I mean, there's a very whole other world there as far as maybe not just construction management, but also in the subcontracting world, because these larger firms do almost everything that we do, just specific to their trade, not the larger, all of the trades on the buildings. But a project manager and superintendent and all that exists there as well. So many, it's a wide net to cast as far as opportunities out in the market and the type of job that you could pursue. As we kind of stated a little bit earlier as well.
And I think that's why, Danielle touched on this, that I think coming out of the program, you feel prepared to tackle anything, even if you don't know the technical aspect, you know how to learn, you know that you can do it, you can try and learn something. And so I think that's really desirable to employers. And also because of the kind of diverse opportunities that exist within kind of the broad world of construction, there's a lot of job opportunities. And so I think, Heather, you may know the statistics better than I do, but I think, for the last several years, all of our students have had jobs before graduation or shortly thereafter, which is pretty incredible.
Construction management is one of the ones where it's at 100%. So we're doing really well.
I think there's also a list of commonly hired companies or companies that commonly hire Roger Williams grads on the construction management website. If it's not on the construction management, it might be on the board website, which is through the construction management page.
And that's the other thing. If you look at that and see anybody else that's on the construction management board that, that you might know, or you might know their company, or you have any questions, everybody's, available to talk to you and answer any questions that you have.
And then for you guys, Danielle, I know you mentioned like the relationships with professors were so meaningful to you when you were a student at Roger. And obviously the program itself is it's a very intimate program at Roger. So you have those tight relations with your peers when you're here. Are you guys still connected with your peers that you were at Roger with, that you still work with or network with now that you are alum from Roger?
What was the question? Are there still connections?
Are you still networked with alum? Where are they placed now that your peers that when you were here at Roger?
So actually, a lot of my peers went between Shawmut and Gilbane, but one's also at Turner, and then a few have changed career paths too. So, but not necessarily career paths. I guess went from construction management to either a subcontractor firm or even to development. So even though you make these connections, you also you're able to expand your network, or you start your network at Roger Williams, and then you slowly, just by being friends, you can expand that network. And not many people stay long at some companies. I think 12 years is a long time nowadays to stay in a company. I know a lot of people jump, and that's just, some people just like that, and some people want to stay in one company. So leave your options open, but keep yourself well-rounded enough and always be open to new ideas, because you never know where you're going to land or where the people that you're friends with now might go. So it's always about keeping the doors open, both personally and in your own network.
I always find it interesting too when I meet people that went to Roger Williams, but I didn't know it. I had a number of projects over the course of my development career where we had people that were working for the MEP engineer or people working for the architect that went to Roger Williams, and having that commonality is such a great icebreaker, because you can tell old stories and you can make those connections, even if you're trying to tackle a difficult issue that you may not agree on. You're working towards solving a problem. Having that commonality can kind of break down some of those barriers too. James, have you had that experience?
Yeah, I'm working with someone I went there with right now on one of my jobs. He's on the architecture side, actually. And I was talking to my former roommate today, helped me out with some pricing. So, yeah. Pretty common.
There's a question. How many students are in the CM program? Do any of you know the current number? It's not one that we typically look at when we're in our things.
Danielle, I'm looking at you.
It usually,
I feel like I know this.
I think it's right around 100, which has been in the past. I don't know what it was last year specifically or what.
For all years, Charlie.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that that's, something that with the new infrastructure and building is being looked at, going up.
Yeah, I think it's just over 100. So that's for all 4 years. So the ratio is super small, which is amazing. So
It is.
you don't have to be afraid or concerned or nervous like going in your first day, even though you will be, but it's such a smaller classroom size that you feel more comfortable.
It's a lot different. A lot of schools, when you go and you're doing research, a lot of them somehow have the ratio of 15 to 1 student to teacher ratio. Everyone has that ratio. So at Roger, 99% of our classrooms seat fewer than 40 students. So, I mean, it's already much smaller than you would find at like a large state or D1 school where they have like those 300 and something seat lecture halls, but then they have like one-on-one faculty research with like 1 or 2 interns that they count towards that demographic. So it can skew that ratio to be 15 to 1. So it's truly it's a very tight-knit campus. There's a lot of community. I've never worked with so many people that are so passionate about what they do or wanting to make change and being proactive about it, not just like, I wish things were different and just like groaning all the time and doing nothing about it. So it's definitely a really, really cool community of people who are very constructive with each other. No pun intended, but that worked out.
So, I'll say just for the construction management professors, from day one, they reach out and, they've got their office hours and they really do expect you to come see them for extra help and become friendly with them. And I'll say that, to this day, I still reach out very frequently to a lot of the professors at Roger Williams, on a friendship level and for advice in the industry.
And that's why they, having those relationships is why, they reach out to us too. If they have a student who's looking for an internship or a job opportunity, or if they have questions about something that's happening in the industry, they'll call us too, which is great to have that continued relationship.
Any other questions that anyone might have?
What type of software do you work with?
Within the industry right now?
Yes, in class and currently.
So typically out in the world, out right now, P6 will be used for scheduling. P6, I believe they're using at Roger Williams as well for scheduling. And BIM, I can't speak to as much. I'm sure Danielle or Charlie can speak to that side a little bit. Go ahead.
They're going to focus on BIM.
What was that, Charlie?
I said there has been a focus, James, sorry not to cut you off, on BIM and how the construction management side of the industry can use what the architects are producing in a model for estimating quantity takeoffs, deliveries, that kind of stuff. So they are trying to integrate the new modeling software that's gotten beyond just AutoCAD.
Yeah, so on my project right now, we're using Revit. However, I think at Roger Williams, a lot of the architecture students are using that as well. And one thing that I think is fantastic is if you have the opportunity and the interest, you can actually try to get on to one of the competition teams. And within construction, they have a design build, a commercial, and a heavy highway. I believe they are starting another, did they start another competition, or is that just like at a national level?
I thought it was at a national level.
It might be, yeah. So in the design build competition, you actually have 3 construction management students and 3 architecture students typically, and you can integrate, both sides to have a more diverse outcome. And so a lot of times also architecture students are looking for that construction management minor or just that background. And so in your classrooms, you're getting diverse students. So you're getting the architecture students, or sometimes you're getting the engineer students. So you're learning some different tools. And you can also start learning some different software systems related to that as well.
And I know it's super basic, but I use it almost all day, every day, and I have my entire career, and it's Excel. You have to be a master of Excel.
I love Excel. For computer, do you guys, I know, so when I was in my undergrad, I was in a STEM degree, but I'd never used a Mac when I was in my undergrad. I don't know if you guys prefer Mac or PC. I know we service both while we're on campus, and any software you need would be made available to you, but I don't know in construction management which you guys generally prefer to use.
I think it's easier for a PC, but in my undergrad, I also used Mac because my core concentration was graphic design, which is totally not typical. But I was using both in undergrad.
We do service both on campus, so whichever one you do end up bringing, if you need help with it, the people at Roger will be able to fix it. I have terrible luck with IT. So they can definitely help out if anything were to go wrong. Perfect. Any other questions you guys might have? If you guys do think of any, while they think of any, do you guys have any parting words of wisdom for 17 to 18-year-olds who are looking to start construction management in 2020 right now?
Be adaptable. Definitely now that more than ever is you just need to adapt to the times and kind of keep an open mind about change, because construction is completely like it's you try to plan for the best, prepare for the worst, but you need to definitely adapt to the change, because even though you might think something's supposed to happen, in an instant it changes and you have a whole new game plan. So just be open to new possibilities.
I'd say, you know, guys, if you want to talk one-on-one, I'm more than happy to talk to any of you. Obviously, this is an unprecedented situation for all of us, and I'm sure learning at home is making that very challenging for you guys as well, being seniors in high school. So I don't know, Heather, how we can share our information, but you know, I'm here and I'll talk you through anything construction related, Roger Williams related, if you would like.
Those were the same for me too.
If you guys want, you're more than welcome. If you want to drop your emails in the chat, if people want to get them from there, they definitely can.
Yep.
Now you're just going to hear a bunch of typing. It would help if I typed more than
one thing I would say is that one of the best ways to be successful in construction is to try everything. Don't see it as a division line between the field and the office side. I've been a project engineer, I've been an assistant super, I've been a project manager, project executive, and really having all of that knowledge from the field side to the office side is really what makes, you know, a really strong leader in the industry. So don't think that there'll just be one side, not the other side, but I would say absolutely just do both. You know, expose yourself to both sides of that. Very important.
And I would just say, again, thank you all for joining us. I hope that the passion that we all have about Roger Williams comes through. And, you know, from the day you set foot on campus, you're, in my opinion, an alumni in training, and you're part of the Roger Williams family, and that family will be there to support you for your entire career.
Perfect. If you guys do have questions, please let us know. We're more than happy to help. Like Heather said, we're all really excited to welcome you guys to the community, even now, but especially in the fall. I can't wait to be back on campus. We were just running ambassador interviews, and we asked them what they love about Roger, which turned into a very sentimental project. And everyone's like, I really miss the sites, or I miss my friends. But a really big one was I miss the food. If any of you have been able to eat on campus, you can relate to that. I used to get sushi at work every day, which I usually don't advocate to get dining hall sushi anywhere in life. That's but everything's really solid at Roger. Just one last plug, or a couple last plugs, just on the admission side of things. I know a couple of the students who are registered were also potentially looking at computer science. There is a 5 o'clock session for that tomorrow. We are also, for the rest of the month, running our 4 to 5 Q&A that has 2 admissions professionals on it and then 2 current Roger students. A lot of them, like you guys, are graduating seniors. So definitely in the same boat of that something came in and completely uprooted the second half of your year that none of us really saw coming. So they can definitely relate to that with you guys, but they want to share their enthusiasm for Roger still. So definitely, if you have any more questions, tune into those, and they're more than happy to help as well. We're definitely all here to make this as easy as possible for you guys navigating. It's a really hard time in general as a process. It's usually very stressful, and now it's just a little elevated, which is fine. It's fine. But definitely reach out if you have questions, and we're happy to help. Thank you, guys. Have a great night. Stay safe.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Good luck.